Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check. Seems to be better.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
There we go.
Check.
All right, everybody. Ooh, what am I? All right, we seem to have gotten the startup bugs working out, but it's paying off as we've got about 5 viewers. Thank you, viewers.
You guys will do it. Like, follow, share.
Just do it. Do it. And I'm monitoring myself on 2 different screens, and the one when I look over here, I'm washed out and look like a ghost, and this one looks like I have a tan.
Walk over and shut off that light that is going on in the kitchen.
I did this time, so I don't look red from that one.
Nice.
But I have my my decent cameras still packed in my bag over here, and I'm just using this Logitech camera right now. And it usually is good, but lately it's just been one sorry-ass piece of crap. And so I gotta set my other camera up. I was just lazy about it because it goes on a tripod and sits out in the room. And when Mrs. Striking was here, she has long limbs and knocks things over. Or she doesn't. I'm always afraid she's going to. And so and this camera's mounted on one of these big trusses I have here on the side. So I defaulted to using that. Now she's back in Canada, and so I need to go back to the proper camera. But I put my motorcycle away. If you could see on the other side of my monitor here, my motorcycle is there. So I have to move the motorcycle to put the camera on. It's just, God, life is just, can't believe how difficult it is.
It's rough in the streets here.
All right, let's get this show started, ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking here in the digital media world. Here on DYOR Live, known as Tom Striking, that guy that makes the technical errors all the time, and a whole bunch of other names depending on who you are. But it's a good day. It's going to be a good show for you. As usual, I got Pedro Garcia in the house. Pedro, what's happening?
Whoop, 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 whoop. What's up, my people?
Yeah, we're getting a little crazy. It's Friday, and so it's Friday, so a little bit more casual, relaxed here. We don't have a set agenda today. I don't have a guest on. And so it's just Pedro and I going to be working the conspiracy theories. Who's the man that's trying to put his thumb down on you? Who's printing all the money and taking it for themselves? And just us chumbalones getting taken in the shorts. And so that's the agenda for today. We're taking calls in the Space Lounge TG room. This is pumped in there. And so if you head over to the Space Lounge TG room, if you know anything about Telegram, all you have to do is find the Space Lounge and go in and you can talk to us about it and ask questions live, BS with us. And Brian, if you're listening or something like that, come on the air. I'll send you the guest link and we'll have you on, as they say.
Also, anybody in the Dojo Lounge, if y'all are there, any of JBZ or Arion want to also come on, you guys are more than welcome as well too. We know you guys are awesome.
Every viewer is awesome. We'll take it. Just someone go put a laptop in front of the homeless people under the bridge over here. They count too. We'll take everyone.
Exactly. Crypto is for everyone.
Man, it just can't get more exciting than this show, huh? But Pedro, there's been we'll get right into it. There's the title of the show for today was It's finally Friday, because once again, as I always say, crypto is, what a week it's been. It's just been. We'll talk about BTC in a minute when you go through that, but that took us for a ride. Took us on a up and down ride, and brought the volatility back. Brought all kinds of news about it. Everyone's saying we're back. And other people are like, "What? Just hold on." And then there's other kind of news in the tech world and things like that. Like Sam Altman, the CEO and founder of OpenAI, he's out.
Shocking.
Yeah, shocking. He's out. He founded it, but and was the head of it. But has been a long time since he was the majority owner. It's been many years, because they had to raise a lot of money to develop that thing. And if everyone recalls, Elon Musk was the largest shareholder in that. Not like, I don't think anyone had 50% on it, but the largest investor in the company. And in fact, a lady, we'll just say mother of a couple of his children, is the heir apparent to run OpenAI and Dolly. So if you can believe that, I think Microsoft is the largest owner of it now, I think, or the largest share owner or something like that. But she's in line to be the number one in that.
So how old is she? And does she know anything about AI?
Oh yeah, she's a certified genius. When you look at her resume, she's like, you're like, oh yeah.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. You're like, oh. Elon was like, I'm counting on my intellect and her intellect joining to make kids of, even better intellect.
Geniuses of geniuses, bro.
Yes, exactly.
But the thing is, when I look at him being fired, I mean, what is he, like 25, maybe 30?
I don't have. Yeah, he's got to be at least 30.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that the man's worth over $500 million. So
yeah,
either way, I mean, even though he got fired, which is sad. I mean, I feel my heart breaks for him, and that stinks, right? But he's still making a decent a penny. You know what I'm saying? Even off just his. Let's say he's worth 100 million, right? Right now, with interest rates being at 7-8%, I mean, he's not hurting. You know what I'm saying? Definitely not hurting. But
no,
I feel bad. This was his baby. It's almost like his baby just kicked him out and said, "We don't want you living here, Dad."
It's as we were talking about before the show. It's just like BitBoy's company ousting him for his personal problems and the things that he had going on. Oh God! Look at the headline. You can't see it on my screen here. But WorldCoin plummets as OI pushes out founder Sam Altman. Oops. An expensive day for him.
Yeah. Ouch. So he got fired from OpenAI and WorldCoin.
No, he runs that, but it just the price of WorldCoin apparently just tanked today.
Oh, that stinks. You know what though? I think they had a good. I want to be careful there. I think they were trying, because I mean, you going in and they were willing to pay you. I mean, straight up pay you cash to live, and something reasonable. You know what I'm saying? I mean, a lot of people were signed up across the world to get a income that would be good. And there were a lot of people were excited about going through and getting an education, paying for things like that. So it's one of those things that it's kind of sad, when you think about it. Like, people who were ready, obviously I don't think you see Americans signing up for that, but I do think that you did see a lot of third world, second world countries, people signing up for that in hopes that, like this was going to make their life better. So,
well, so some people got $20 and that made a big difference. These kids in Pakistan or wherever they were.
Oh, whoa. Yeah, I see it right. Ooh, man. No, this is not it. I don't think that's it.
All I see is your browser window. I switched to your screen.
Oh, do you see my browser or my?
I see your new tab for Brave.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me go ahead and I thought you guys were seeing this one.
I switched off you for while you mess with that.
All right, cool. Let me see what's going on. Ooh, yeah. All right, we'll pop this over here. There we are. There we are. Ooh, yeah. I don't think this is it because I'm looking at WorldCoin token wrapped ETH, and it's like.
I think I have a feeling that. What's the date on that last trade there?
I don't know. I mean, shoot, like, but even then, it literally went up and then just gone down here.
Yeah, that looks like every other shit token. Although that one lasted a long time. Lasted.
February of 22 or 21. So I mean, or
January. Well, that might be it.
Is this it? You think? Oh my goodness, bro! Like, it literally started off at 301, and it's down.
I don't think that's it. I don't think they're that old. Their token.
WorldCoin. If anybody in our audience want to pop it up here real quick, see if you can maybe try this one right here. No, I think this might be it. Let's see right here. What is Sam Altman's?
Let's see. Coin. Oh, people were shorting WorldCoin. It finally paid off today.
Oh yeah, Iris Biotech cryptocurrency project. WorldCoin is an Iris Biotech cryptocurrency project developed by San Francisco, Berlin-based.
Yeah, the price right now is about $1.97.
Oh, I see right here, $1.91 right now. But I'm just trying to see where are you seeing the
I'm just looking at Twitter.
The price. Got it. See if we can see the chart. WorldCoin, some almonds. Ticker symbol. Yeah, WLD is it. So what's the market cap on it? I'm curious to know what the market cap is. Dropped 12% in the immediate aftermath. Yeah,
that's normal in crypto. Come on, man.
I was like, that's literally barely a breath in crypto.
12%. Screw that.
12% ain't nothing.
Right. Give me that back.
Yeah, literally. That's interesting though. It's really interesting that it's done that. Like it's I with that type of, I wonder if maybe this is even. So let me ask a quick question. So Elon Musk comes in and he's like, dude, you're out. Like, I don't trust you. Like, because he owns a major portion, correct?
No, I used to. I think a lot of his shares were bought when Microsoft took a big position in the company in order to control corporate use of because they immediately incorporated into Bing, into Office, and so that's why Elon actually started his own AI firm. And his mother of his children still works for. Oh, see, when you're just worth billions, you can just do what you want. You just start billion-dollar companies, found other ones. Mother of your children is the CEO of your competitor. I mean, come on, man. I mean,
bro, he makes literally like $3 billion a year. I mean, at least.
I mean, his net worth changes by $3 billion a day. I mean, it's like it's up $3 billion, it's down $3 billion, it's up $10 billion, it's down $2 billion, it's down $20 billion, down $100 billion, up $200 billion.
Actually, I think it's more than that. I forget what it is. I forget exactly. I remember I did the math a while back ago, and I was sitting there looking at his worth. So he's worth like 200+ billion, like, for his net worth, right? And a majority of that is paid off through Twitter, right? In actual real cash, right? Here you go, have a good day. And it's roughly about $2 to $3 billion, yearly. That's what he makes. That's what he, And so I guess a lot of it gets sent out. Looks like it's up to Microsoft the president and CEO founder of OpenAI, just to quit as well. They hyped us all up to sell the top WorldCoin. The regulatory concerns charade. It was all part of the show. You know what?
People are crying scam. That's what they're doing. So thank you for that comment.
Yeah. The thing is his net worth. I mean, like, are you gonna go after? How do you go after Elon Musk, right? Like,
I think he's talking about Sam Altman there.
No, I know that, but I mean, I'm saying is like, do you think Elon Musk would back? And you know, if people started going after him, you think he would? Because if he goes down, and I know there's secrets, bro. There has to be secrets.
Oh yeah.
You know, Sam Altman's got to be saying something. Be like, bro, you better come save me, man.
Man, just a couple days ago, Elon's meeting with the president of China, shaking his hand publicly and having a private meeting with him. There's nothing gonna happen to him. He's protected. And plus, he's putting everyone's shit into space. I mean, and he's building the Space Force, the fifth branch of the military now. Has contracted with Starlink to build a duplicate of it just for the military use. So he runs the money printer. It's not the treasury. It's just Elon. That's just printing the money.
Dude, that is nuts. He's literally working with institutional level, like ground floor governments. Like, he dictates. Like, who was it? He went over when they lost. He brought he took, what was it, during the Russian war, right? He pulled away Starlink so that the Russians couldn't use it.
Right.
Like, that was nuts. Like, talk about where he, like, a man can sit there and go to Putin and basically flip off. I mean, look at this picture right here. This is exactly the look he did or this look right here when Putin was trying. He's like, nope. Like, right look at these. Right there. That's it. That's that smug look right there. Look at him.
That's I got billions, baby. Billions. I was reading something about him a while ago, and that he before he had his Gulfstream or his private jet, his current model one. They sold the other one, and he was chartering or renting a plane or whatever while waiting for his new one to be built. And so he just took to flying his fighter jet to work. I mean, like, come on, man. I mean, he has a I don't know, like a T-38, one of those trainer jets or something like that. And he would fly, and then he landed it. Famous, I don't know how famous the story is, but the one I was reading, he's like, oh, he's flying around the southern border in Texas, and he's like, his fighter jet, not like the pilot flying around in his G500.
He is.
And he's like, oh, that looks like a good spot to start a rocket company down in South Padre or wherever the hell the place is in Texas. Flies the jet back, says, start building it over there. The other guy goes, buys the land, moves the town out. You guys don't need to be here.
That's just nuts, dude. Like, to have that much, or just the fact that he has the ability to fly a fighter jet plane.
Right, because he has so much time in his schedule to get the hours in to learn how to fly a complicated machine like that.
It's just nuts.
All right, let's pivot and hit the BTC and see what's going on here. We got plenty of time to talk tonight.
Boom, boom, boom. So here we go. Let's check out the markets and what is going on. Ooh, there's WorldCoin. It's $1. And honestly, actually, jumping on this here real quick. By the way, Shiba Inu. All right. Got the algorithm in. If you look right here, and this is what's blowing me away when I look at this with WorldCoin, it barely dropped, and it actually hit a perfect support level right here. And I'm like, wow, was that done on purpose? Like, it hit a perfect area of buyers. Like, all right, sorry, Sam, but we're gonna have to fire you, man, because we need this thing to sell off so that we can buy it back over here. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, all right, we got to keep this, because, dude, if you look at it, like, dude, it was breaking out. It was like legitly breaking out of its previous resistance here. And we was getting ready to push up.
Yeah, there's just a huge buy in it. Just when's that green candle right there?
Dude, that was the 13th. That was this week. That was a Monday, man.
So some poor schmuck bought a big position in and just totally he got exit liquidated today. That's what he got.
That's exactly what that is. That's Sam Altman going, all right, well, we're all the way down over here. So let me go ahead and, not, but those elite guys, they don't do that. They don't do that. Of course not, right? All right. So checking out Bitcoin here, you can see that we did come up into our moving average, or not moving average. We came up into the supply here. We did see the sell-off. And right now, it's just chilling. I mean, you know what? I expect this right here is kind of showing me that, if it was going to push up.
I'm going to refill my drink.
Refill away. Oh, Brian, headed out of the office, but wanting, wait, what does he say? I can't see that. Wanted to pop in and say, what's up? What's up, brother? How you doing? It's good to see you. Thanks for popping in, man. Thanks, Brian. Launch Lounge right there, shooting off Mr. Brian Shiitake or Shiitake. Shiitake. But either way, this man knows his stuff when it comes to crypto. So shoot it out to him. He's building some awesome stuff. Jumping back into the markets here. So you can see here that this was a bit, I did think if we were going to push up, we would needed to see some volume coming in from yesterday. We didn't see much. So I'm definitely, again, bearish on this movement up. I do expect this to sell off. You see already that moving average right here is already starting to peak down and push the market down, and it is acting as resistance here now. So from yesterday into today, from today into tomorrow over the into Saturday, this is this new coin or the new day here. I do see us going down. I mean, it's just not. This should have came up higher. We should have seen more volume step in and push this up. So as you can see here, the red volume here coming in. It's not a lot of volume with BTC, so I do see it's coming down. It's one of those things that I'm looking to see us come through. Now, in additionally to that, when we look at Ethereum is one of those things that is again a forward kind of mover, and we're having lower highs and lower lows, as well as a strong push down with our moving averages right here. In additionally to that, as you see, even though we did not, for your ICT traders, we didn't close below the low here, right? So there was a liquidity pool that it pulled up. But if you look at this, right, we did see a pickup in volume coming in off of that drop. So it's one of those things that is, I do see it's coming back down from that 1950 area, coming down to these lower levels, at least to the 1744, if not below, hitting that 1500 again. Just simply because this has been the big push and arbitrage between the major. And if you understand, I would encourage you guys, there's a guy, his name is George Gammon. He has his own TV or YouTube channel, and he brings on a lot of good guests. He talks a lot of macro fundamentals, but the biggest things that he does bring about, though, and I think this is really cool, is he brings kind of like the insider stuff as well. He's not a trader, but he does interviews traders. He does look at the market and stuff. And this week he was talking about some major moves, major traders, and the biggest thing that traders look for is arbitrage, right? Where price is moving up with one, right? Like I say, BTC cash is skyrocketing, right? But BT coin, it hasn't moved yet. Well, what they'll do is they'll buy BTC, right, and then short the BT cash and capture the balance, or they'll just both take long and push it up. And sometimes they cause these manipulations by they go in putting in $2 or $3 billion. Hence, then we should see a different side of the coin get manipulated. So these arbitrage plays here are one of those things that I also look at when it comes to Ethereum. Ethereum went through, and if you notice, and I think this is really cool, if you go through and you play this, we've known that the Ethereum, or what's it called? The Ethereum ETF has been getting pushed. So I think part of this push up is literally because of um, the Ethereum
Right.
push, or the Ethereum ETF that was kicking off. So you can see here now that it's come out, we're now seeing the sell off, and all this movement here is based off of that. And it comes from these major traders who use arbitrage for those plays. And I know I'm not explaining it well enough. George Gammon goes out and does a pretty good explaining the trade for the major huge traders out there. So go check him out. I think it was this week he was talking about it, so it was actually pretty cool. But either way, you can see here that once we hit this area of supply, you can see here there was a ton of sell pressure step in, and now we're starting to drop it. So I do expect us again to come back down to these lower levels. There are a lot of people that are screaming that that we're not in a bull run. This is just
Right.
this
Well,
is
the
just
general
a-
idea is that when it's stays above a certain moving average, it's a bull run, right? But
Mhm.
uh,
Yeah.
but
I-
it just crossed it. It can easily cross back underneath it. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people out there are calling. I don't mean calling for the $100,000, but there's a lot of people saying, "Hey, we're just in an upward channel," and it's moving up. And certain TA shows that, but other times when you look at where all the orders are and where the big people want to push the market, you got to think they're going to take some money out.
Well, let me ask a quick question, right?
Mm.
When you were in the or when you were dealing with the New York Stock Exchange, and you were sitting there and you're dealing with the options, right? And here's the thing: you also have options on BTC, on Ethereum, all those stuff going on with
Yep.
the CME, right? I mean, how many times did you see big old orders, whereas the market is moving up, but you're seeing puts coming in that you got to fill, and you're like, who's
The put market was very, very small on the New York Stock Exchange, New York Futures Exchange. Yeah, I was always quite surprised. Maybe there was a big OTC market between the big houses or something like that, trading desks doing things directly. But the call market had, if the call market had, if there was 100%, the call market was 80%, and the put market was 20%, and it was just, I mean, we almost never got a sell put to open a position. That almost never. Of course, remember this is back in the '80s, though. This was not. There was no internet yet. There wasn't electronic trading and stuff like that. People really hadn't figured out how to take advantage of puts, and really it was the risk managers in companies, actually hedging instead of people speculating. So it was more of someone buys. People would they used to arb the S&P 500 to the New York Futures Exchange. Well, they still do, but they did it pretty heavily back then. And because when it was open outcry, there was an inefficiency in the market that if you were just a little bit faster, now it's electronic and arbing it's almost impossible, because it's so fast. But people just weren't skilled at using at the options markets because they were hard to price, especially in out months. They were very difficult to price. Basically, traders would look at, if you said you wanted an option on a 2 months out, 3 months out, people would be like, see if he takes this price. And they'd take it, and they're like, man, and he would offload it on the spot market. And the trader would hedge it against the spot market. He's like, I just probably made $20,000. But because they were all hedging against huge positions in the stock market, so they didn't mind losing that on the hedging market. It was strange. It was a strange market but it taught me a whole bunch. Oh, there come the cops again. SEC's coming.
Hey man, shh, be quiet.
Yeah, what I need is an outdoor cam here that just shows the street in Chicago, and it's just at nighttime. It's just woo 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 woo. Just all
Man, I saw an accident today where literally I saw a car go up this ramp, hit. Here on the East Coast, the brick walls are more like abnormal sized like rocks that are just kind of placed together, right? You know how
Right,
like
right.
the East Coast rock
Yep.
wall it looks
They
like,
pulled them
right?
out of the fields.
Yeah, exactly. And so I just saw this car come through and literally come around this curve and just slam into this rock wall, and it flipped up on its side, and I sat there and I was just like, what is going on? And and so I jumped over there. I was like, holy crap, what's going on? And so I jumped over there and helped the woman out, and then a couple other guys. And it was lucky because there were two babies, literally two babies in the car that flipped over. I guess
Ooh.
the story is one of the babies got out of the car seat. She reached over to be like, what are you doing? Because he was going to open the door. And so she reached over to grab the door, and when she did, she just turned the wheel, and it just boom flipped.
Ooh.
Right?
Ouch.
Yeah, it was nuts. Anyways, long story short, jumped over to help, but I couldn't believe how many cops. I mean, there were probably 40 cops, 30 cops in this small town. It was nuts.
Well, and the other 2 days ago, my ex-father-in-law, while he was at work, his house burnt like not to the ground, but in half. And
Oh, that sucks.
there was a newspaper article about it, and the amount of fire departments that responded to it was amazing. It was like it was in the suburbs here, where all the counties join together and form a single kind of fire department to back each other up. And like they were, and it's a small, probably 3-bedroom house. There was at least 14 pieces of equipment there. And I went back and listened to the tape of it because it's online. And I was like, why did they have so much stuff in there? And then today I was curious because a lot of the talk was about water, and went on a street view, and his street doesn't have fire hydrants. It's not rural. This isn't a suburb, a close-in suburb of Chicago, and the house was built in the 30s, but no fire hydrants, and so they had to truck water in, and house el destroydo. But it was a similar type of thing. It was like you saw a zillion police cars, and in here there was a zillion fire trucks for an incident that seemingly didn't need it.
Wow, that's nuts, man. See a house burn, dude. Like that's a sad. Like it's always sad. No matter how much a person goes through, it's always sad to sit there and see a house go down because those people's memories and dreams, and it's always sad. A lot of stuff.
Yep.
So let me ask a quick question. So if the market does sell off here, okay, from a fundamental standpoint, where could you sit there and see Ethereum come down to? I mean, from where do you think we'll see a 25% sell off, a 50% sell off?
I think Ethereum will detach from Bitcoin. It kind of has a little bit disassociate. I can't remember the term that you used. When one thing tracks another one,
Oh, yeah.
Because Ethereum is like the poster boy of success lately. They're just, even with their high gas prices and limited transactions, everyone is starting a level 2 chain to work on it. In fact, just today, there's a scandal going on right now as we talk here. In that I was going to mention this earlier before your spot, but I didn't. The huge exchange, OKX, and the Zen project from Jack Levin, are going at it because Jack has taken over the name of X1 in the crypto world. His project, he has all kinds of NFTs like that. He has tokens named that. This whole thing is built around this concept of X1, and and today, OKX Exchange, one of the largest ones in the world, launched their own level 2 ETH fork based on the Polygon
Oh my goodness, bro.
chain, and they called it X1. And it's a level 2 chain now. Hear me out. It's a level 2 not level 1. There's also an X1 level 1 blockchain out there as well. That is, I don't know who has the rights to it, but it's not. I don't think it's in operation yet. But so they're calling their level 2 chain X1, signifying a layer 1 chain. And they're claiming they publicly saying we didn't know who Jack Levin and X1 is. Jack Levin is one of the most famous people in crypto. He's famously the 21st employee of Google. He started the Zen project from nothing and has a community to die for. Literally 1 million people follow him. And he launches anything, and 1 million people trade it and mess with it and have fun with it. And it's huge. It's just a big thing that it's not making a lot of money right now, but in the long term, it's set to really pay off as people add liquidity to those various projects. And then Jack Levin, publicly, these people are saying we never even heard of you and what your project is. We're the world's 3rd largest exchange. We don't know who you little people are. But then Jack says, "Oh yeah, why did you guys send me emails saying, am I the owner of the X1.eth name, the ENS name?" And oh yeah, how come one of your people reached out to me? And in fact, I met with one of your people a few days ago or whatever, and he said, clearly you guys knew about this. You asked me all these questions. They're like, from. It's going on Twitter right now. It's pretty funny. Jack's like, I'm not stepping away from a fight.
So the thing is, these CEOs who create their stuff, dude, like Elon Musk, like they don't play. They're like, you want to go?
Right, let's go. And so Jack immediately launched a whole new. I don't know what the story is. He launched so they were calling the coin that powered their blockchain X1. So he went and launched a whole bunch of new X1 tokens, I think, on their new chain. Also, he said, "Look, this is my name, man. I'm using it. What are you gonna do? Start another one called SafeMoon? Wait, hey, we got this new idea. We're gonna name our token Bitcoin. No, what do you mean it was taken? Nobody's ever heard of that thing. Bitcoin. I mean, come on, man. It's going on Twitter right now. I wish I should try and bring some of that up here.
Hey, go bring it up. I'll let me go over some stuff here real quick with the
Sure.
So I want to bring this up because I don't know, most people don't realize that their life is ran by bonds. People are like, what? Yeah. Your municipality, water, everything like that, right? Like it's all designated with bonds. People buy municipal bonds, or they get money. They go out and look for money with other countries who then say, yeah, well, because governments can tax people, so they can guarantee a certain amount of money to come in for those bonds. And so over the last few months, we've seen a really shy amount of people wanting to come in and buy bonds. It was really interesting this past week. We had a pretty good push up of the bond prices, pushing up decently. And over the last few weeks, we've actually really seen it kind of come through. And there's big money. I mean, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars, if not trillions of dollars, in just the derivative side of bonds. When part of the biggest issue that we saw in 2008 was derivatives coming from bonds and interest rates. And so, but what's really interesting is this push up. I wonder, they always talk about, bonds and the market will always move first before we get out of a situation. And I'm not much of a fundamentalist. I don't pretend to be. I know some stuff, but I have to admit, and by the way, this is all for educational and entertainment purposes only. So please do not take my advice as financial advice. This is not financial advice. But I'm looking at some of these interesting markers here within the bond market. And there's this one little spot right here that, like, at the 121 area here, that I'm definitely more interested in, if to take a short, like a major short in this level here. For you ICT traders here, you can see here, this is the second fair value gap right here and one right here. And so in additionally to that, you also have a decent amount of volume at these levels here. So we do not have a demand wick. Now, if you look at these guys, you can see as we're coming down that we're putting in, this is the monthly chart here. We put in demand wicks. Here we do not have any demand wicks on this level on this monthly chart. So potentially we could rally this thing all the way up here and then see in December a drop potentially, right? So please be smart in how you trade this. You know, don't, again, this is not financial advice, but just from my own look in the market, I see this as a good way to, you know,
once again, which product is that?
Oh, thank you. This is the 30-year bond.
The 30-year.
Yeah, this is ZB or 30-year. So it's just, you know, and here's the interest rates. Interest rates are going down, right, as bond yield prices are going up. So it's a good indication that, again, I want to point this out, that there is no supply wick here. It's a very, very tiny. And if you look compared to all these other supply wicks here, except for this one, right, you need a bigger, so it's almost being set up for it to reverse, to push back up. So it's just a little thing that potentially could work out in your favor. Be smart in how you trade it, but it's something to be paying attention to. Again, we don't have any demand wicks here, so we could happen to see that the interest rate come all the way, actually even down to a 3.5 interest rate on this.
Right, it's one of those charts that goes up and is not necessarily good when it goes up.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, exactly. Depending on the way you trade. Oh, my mic sounded a mess again.
I do not. To me, it sounds like you're good.
I just restarted my mic.
That sounds good to me. I mean, I don't think it was bad.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
If you think back in the 80s, bro, in the 80s, they had literally 10% interest rate.
Yeah,
Can you believe that?
My parents' mortgage on one of our houses when we lived in Ridgefield was, I think it was 17%. You can't believe that. You know.
Dude, that's nuts. When I think about those things, I'm just like, and you know, I heard one commentary guy. He said, if you really wanted to see America back on track, like legitimately be able to balance things from a financial standpoint, you would need interest rates at 10% for 10 years, 10 to 15 years, to finally like kind of get things balanced. And it would put America in such a catastrophe. What's the word I want to use? It would hurt America from a financial standpoint for years. But to be actually fiscally smart, that would be the smart thing to do, right? To like sit there and be fiscally smart and put our country back on track. I don't think that's ever going to happen, but who knows? I mean, if Powell keeps doing what he's doing, potentially, man, we could see that.
Man, look at that chart. I mean, come on, man. What's the time frame on that chart?
Oh, bro, this is the monthly chart, and this is jumping all the way back to 88. So back here, we see this is the 88, 87 mark area, September of 87. Right. This is.
What were the rates then?
10%.
Yeah, I bought my first house. I would say it was 1994 or 5, and I had a 6.5% mortgage, and everyone was like, "Man, it's awesome! It's the great rates. You got so lucky, yada yada." And that wasn't variable; that was a fixed rate.
Yeah, I'm looking at this right now. You said when was that? 95?
Yeah, 94, 95. I can't remember how long.
94. So 94. Yeah, you got 6%. 94 was, yeah, it actually had dropped all the way up to 5%, pretty much in the same area that we're in right now. So it's really interesting with inflation and what's going on.
I bought my first house in a little suburb of Cincinnati, Ohio, for $103,000, $103,500, and I sold it 4 years later for the exact same price. Didn't make $1, you know. I put probably a couple $1,000s in maintenance into it. and didn't even make $1. Second house I owned, also bought and sold for the exact same price. And it was the second one I owned 16 years.
And you didn't make a dime on it.
Not even a dime. Not even a dime. It was right. I sold it in 2017. No, 2019. And it was when the housing bubble in kind of New York and the East Coast and West Coast was suffering a little. Maybe not 2000, maybe 18. I can't remember when the hell I sold it. And it was the market was depressed and there was a lot on the market. And the ex and I didn't sell it earlier when we could have for a lot more. And then when we had to sell it, it wasn't any good. And then I swear to God, not 6 months later, the houses on the same street were selling for about 50% more.
Dude, that sucks.
I know.
Oh, that hurts me.
So in my entire life, I'm in my 5th decade here. I've never made $1 on real estate. And I mentioned that to my dad, and he's like, "It's in the genes, son." He said, "I'm older than you, I've owned a lot more houses, and I've never made a dime either." My dad, we lived in Ridgefield, Connecticut. You know Ridgefield now. We lived there when it was you made commutes to Norwalk and Bridgeport from Ridgefield, not into the city, or Greenwich and stuff like that, or Stamford or something like that. We didn't make any money on that house. We owned a house.
How's that possible?
Must have owned it.
I don't even understand how that's possible, though.
I know. 8 years in Ridgefield. Didn't make any money. So had to sell the house to a relocation company.
That money is that is so much, like the housing out there, bro. It's like, it doesn't stop. I'm shocked. Like that area is like the perfect area to be able to, like, if you want to make money on housing, that's where you buy.
When we lived there, there used to be a train from Ridgefield to Danbury, and they had just stopped passenger service, and we're running a heritage train on it back and forth, and my mom took me on a couple of times. And many years later, and then they abandoned that because at that time they were abandoning all the trains, and then they said, well, we need to put it back so that people in Ridgefield can just get on the train and connect to the Metro North in Danbury and go into New York City. And they're like, oh my God, it's like 6 or 7 miles of track and blah 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 and all this kind of stuff, and putting it back in, they're like, it's going to be $300 million, and the people that live there are like, nah, like nah. So that's nah. They're like, nah, we can just fund it with some taxes. And I was just reading the article and I was like, oh, they ended up not doing it. But they were like, oh, it's not unreasonable, $300 million for that, so we can commute better. It's like, oh, good Lord. Anyway, we digressed on the story there.
I want to bring this up because the SEC goes through, right, and asks federal judges to force Elon Musk to testify over the $44 billion acquisition of Twitter. Then, so during this time period, this was November 16th. So what was that? That was yesterday. Okay. Now, today, Apple goes through and halts all advertising on X. Now, I know that Elon Musk said on the Joe Rogan show that Apple's a major contributor for X, for advertising. He's like, yeah, they do a lot. They do a lot of advertising.
Elon opened up his mouth about the Israel-Palestinian issue, and it didn't go well for him. So he had a bunch of IBM and a couple other big names go, well, we just can't advertise there anymore. They'll be back. They'll be back. They get so much play out of that stuff.
I was gonna say, man, listen, like we've seen this more times than not, man. Like that whole entire canceling and woke thing, man. I think some of the initiatives on it are really good. Like I love the whole entire thing that came with like the Jeffrey Epstein. Like, I love the fact that just, people piled on and said, yo, we need to cancel this. Like, this guy, and there's been some good stuff. The Me Too movement is so dope, man. Like, we've seen some good stuff where men are finally being called out. There's a lot of bigotry. I love that. But then, like, people start talking about, like, their own real, like, personal views and thoughts. It's like, listen, I don't agree, or I agree with this, and these are controversial thoughts, and it's like, I think people should be able to have the ability to be able to communicate and view their thoughts and have a open discourse, right? Where, okay, you may be pro-Israel, the other one may be pro-Palestine, right? Like, let's talk this out, but we can't. There's not even this ability to talk things out and even call somebody to the carpet on their thoughts and saying, explain yourself. Whereas, 10 years ago, that would happen. 15 years ago, they'd be like, explain yourself. Why do you hold this view? And if it was a stupid view and they couldn't back it up, dude, they would be mocked and ripped apart, right? So it's like just the ability of not to be able to open your mouth against a certain subject,
It drives me nuts, but what also drives me nuts is the idiots protesting, and I'm going to take a side here again, but I won't mention that orange hair man, is that there are still 29 Americans being held hostage over there in the Gaza Strip, and we have Americans. I don't mean just the immigrants that came in on family visas and stuff like that, but we have actual Americans born and raised here that are supporting that. And as far as I can tell, they should be put on. Those people should be put on a no-fly list and sent to go over there or go out of the country or to wherever. But the fact that born and bred Americans or citizens or permanent residents or people that have taken the oath, whatever, to uphold the Constitution for getting citizenship, are supporting the kidnapping of American citizens and potential torture of that is just shameful. It's shameful, and obviously everyone can have their own views on that. But there's the things called the First Amendment right, and then there's a second thing calling supporting your country. And if you're supporting the kidnapping of Americans, then you and I have a problem. And apparently I have a problem with a lot of people because there's a lot of these idiots out there. And they're the ones raising all the hell. And that's not right. Sorry, I got on a sidetrack there, but it had to be said.
We're most likely going to get this one canceled then, just so you know. We're probably going to just, so we can count this one in the trash here. I mean, there's no way that the algorithm on YouTube is going to sit there and be like, yeah, no. But I do add this as a caveat, though. Yeah, the fact is that we can't talk about that. We can't have a real discussion and an open. Like, I was hearing Shapiro, he was sitting there, and I think it was a major arrest. It was a college up in England and in the UK, and they were sitting there and they're talking about certain things, and so you had a lot of these pro-Palestinians coming in, and they were hitting all these other topics. So he just literally looks at him and says, "Do you believe that the Israeli state has a right to exist?" And obviously, I'm paraphrasing what he said,
right?
But or do you acknowledge that they are a state? And no, and they would say, no, we do not. And I have to admit, like, watching just that closed offness from a bunch of young people scares me. Like, I sit there and it's like, these are people. I understand, like, you may not agree with them. And so he brought up just the idea of that Iran, as well as the bylaws or the Constitution. Within the Constitution, they straight up say that, that the Israeli state, that they should be eradicated, that the Israeli people should be eradicated off of the planet. And I sit there and it always blows me away, because it's like, that's literally in their bylaws.
It's crazy.
No, I'm not.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
and they expect the world to take them seriously, and then they run their fucking PR machine, and it catches all these young woke kids And I'm like, you're being manipulated by Iran. Just like these other idiots are in the Republican Party are being manipulated by Russia. And it's like, it's so obvious, people. Come on.
Yeah. But here's the thing, and I bring this up again, like if we actually had the ability, now again, if you're pro or against, I don't like state your case, and if it's logical, then I'll believe it. Or not believe it, but I'll interact with you and it's okay, great. But the reality is like if as soon as I sit there and say this is actually in their bylaws, in their constitution, do you agree that this is okay? And they won't even, it's almost like, nope, we're not going to talk about that. And it's like, but this is a big deal, because if Mexico said that every American should be eradicated off the face of the earth because they came in and they took Texas, California, Oregon, Washington, right? Literally
from the Rio Grande to Oregon.
Yes.
Free from the Rio Grande to Oregon. Be like, wait a minute, there's a lot of Americans living there.
But what I'm trying to say though is that, you know what's going to happen to Mexico? Like there's not going to be a Mexico. Like I'm just being honest. You mess with Americans and you're going to try to take our land? Like
we took your land. You're not taking our land.
Like it's gangster. Like we are gangster, bro. We are gangster. Like we do not play. Like we will, like you try to take one of our friends' lands and we're out there bombing you. Imagine if you came and tried to take our land. Like or it's their land. I mean, and legit, it's their land, right? It was once their land over the long haul, right? Like, 100 years ago, boom, right? Like it, 100. When did that happen?
1848.
Yeah, 200 years, apologize, or less, about 150 years ago,
yeah.
Right? And like, but either way, they very much could sit there and say, "Nah, dude, this was ours." And there's enough Mexicans in California, in like Texas, where they could be like, "We going to war."
The East LA militia, man.
It's true, bro. All those gangsters, like
they're like, dude, if you take the sides of the militia, East LA militia, you won't get your check from the government, man. Oh no, this USA stuff is good, man. Let's not mess with that shit. They'll take your 64 Impala. Oh no, nobody taking my 64 Impala.
Straight up, bro. Dude,
they'd be like, America is great. Woo.
So it's one of those things. It's just like, I feel like it's just this. It frustrates me. It really frustrates me that we can't actually have a real civilized conversation where I can sit there and point certain aspects saying, is this okay? Right? Like it's not. Like it's just not. And it's scary, man, because I travel, right, quite a bit in places, and I sit there, man, and it scares me because I see, like, it almost feels like a little bit like how the world was before World War One and World War Two, and it's just, you can't talk, you're not allowed to communicate, and it's scary. You know what I'm saying? Like and this woke side of not allowing people to sit down and talk and actually see my brother, my fellow human being brother, right? Whether he's brown, white, red, yellow. Are we even allowed to?
No, you can't. No. We can talk about Israel versus Hamas, but we cannot mention skin color. That. Okay. Wait, who's turning my power off?
Well, I put it like this because it's like, I'm brown, right? Like I am a brown man, right? Like, and the reality is I've sat down, with my cousins. It's fun. You want to know something even funnier? A majority of my family are from Mexico, right? They kind of came over illegally, right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I just saw that go bloop, and I was like, oh shoot, did they just? That's funny. But I say this because, like, I've sat there and I've heard multiple people from Colombia, Ecuador, and other places that came over, struggled as granted they were illegal, okay, and so they should have done it right. I agree, they should have, but it was a lot better to come over and then work your way while you're here. It's just, it's partly how it's done, and you're able to put money towards the situation. You're still in Peter, or you're still in money from Peter to pay Paul, but sooner or later you catch up and everybody gets happy because everybody gets paid well,
Right.
right? At least when people come over. And so they're upset. These, they came over in the 70s and in the 80s and, early 90s and even early 2000s, right? Some of my friends who I communicate and talk with, and they're extremely upset with some of the stuff that's going on in New York, with what's happening across the borders, literally saying like they are housing these people. And I'm sitting there going, listen, man, I can't talk about that. Like that's, and they're like, yeah, but here's the thing. We had incentives to work. We had 10, 15 of us in a house working our butts off. And then, when one of us would buy a house, we'd all help pay off that house. Right? Boom. And then somebody else, boom, would help. And so it helped build. And then our kids, now some of them have, second generation. I'm first generation. Father, came over illegally. And I hate to say that, but that's just the truth, right? But the reality, and I don't hate to say that, actually, let me phrase that. I don't hate to say that. But the reality is they came, they worked their butt off. They bought houses. They started working jobs. They really became citizen. All my cousins, boom, who came over, became citizens.
Right.
Right. And, some of them are now college educated. And now, the third generation is now going to come. And they don't even barely speak any Spanish. Like, and it's like, you don't, and they're like, Uncle Pedro, what are you talking about? like
you
like
went back, you still speak that old language.
But what I'm trying to say though is this, right? And when you don't incentivize, you give people money, it doesn't incentivize them to work their butt off to get going. So, and here's the thing, for me to sit there and say that, I would be canceled. Like, I know one day, sooner or later, they're going to go back to this and go, boop. If we get big, bro, they're going to go back to the show and go.
They'll be like, you said that. And then we're like, but it was normal then. They're like, not anymore. Now 18-year-olds in universities will run you out of town. And that's when I tell everybody to go back and watch the movie The Killing Fields, when the young people took over in Myanmar, Cambodia. That's the ultimate. The young woke who wanted to reprogram everyone's minds went to the extreme. They took that next step and started killing people. And if any of your viewers have never watched the movie The Killing Fields, it was back in the 1980s. And I might add, it's a 100% completely true story, told from this recount from the book that an author for a reporter from the New York Times, and his cameraman went through over there during that time. And it's the ultimate woke, and these young people have no idea. I mean, Myanmar, I don't know what Myanmar is. And they have no idea how woke can easily take that next step. That next step when they say, well, we don't like you anymore. First, we're going to burn your houses down. And then we're going to take you and put you in re-education camps. And then, he disappeared. Then the disappearances happened.
China.
Uyghurs.
Uyghurs, or even Christians,
right.
Or any religion,
right? Or like,
right?
like the Jews in the minus 3000 BC, minus 2000 BC, minus 1000 BC. A dude named Jesus. He as they say, he got silenced.
But that was almost his own people, though. I mean, it
was the Romans. They came in 25 years earlier and said, "Who the heck is this guy, Jesus? Let's get rid of this dumbass. Let's raise him hell. Put him up on a cross."
It was both. It was both.
Next thing you know, the world's largest religion happens. Romans really screwed that up. At least they took over that religion.
Good point. I mean, honestly, I love going back to my my Jewish roots and realizing, I love telling people, like, Jesus was a radical man. He preached against his own government as well as the captor government.
Yeah.
Like, when I tell people, like, Jesus was under Roman, like I hate to use the word, because when I do talk to, let's say, somebody who is who's pro-Palestine, I'll sit there and go, I understand, Jesus was under Roman occupation. Kind of like, it wasn't as bad, but it was pretty similar to what the Palestinians go through.
Right.
So like it's
Yeah, they're like
really?
the Romans are occupying the Jews, and
Yeah.
the Assyrians and the
Yeah.
and
Babylonians.
the Phoenicians and all those people
Yeah,
and that type of
Birds.
stuff.
Yeah.
Right. It was
Well,
a
not necessarily
mixing,
the
melting pot.
Phoenicians.
Yeah, I guess the Phoenicians were before that, weren't they?
Yeah. But when you look at it, but I mean, we'll just talk about just when we look at any major, and you said it perfectly. Assyrians, not Assyrians, Syria. No, excuse me.
Yeah, there was
Assyrians.
the Assyrians.
Yeah. I don't know why I was in there. My brain kind of farted there for a second. But for the Assyrians, like when they went through, bro, these people were absolutely like they make Hitler look like a child. Like when you read about, like, I don't know if anybody's read the Old Testament, right, and the Jewish and Christian book, right? It's like
Shit was bad back then, man.
Dude, it was like when I tell people, because I've done some major studies in relation in the biblical narrative, and when you sit there and you read through Jonah, bro, the reason why Jonah did not want to preach to the Assyrians, which is the capital, Nineveh was the capital, right? And it's because literally when you go through and you read, like they would go through and they would, and I hate to say this, and we probably need to blot this out, but they would skin alive babies, human beings, grown men, skin alive, and literally put them on the brigades as they move forward into a city.
Yeah,
like
it's awful.
It was absolutely, I mean, atrocious. There was no plane. Like the ancient world was absolutely ruthless.
It was brutal. I mean, first of all, it's the ancient world, and people weren't that astute with science, but and the time frames were long periods. We think in periods of decades and that type of stuff. We're talking about periods of time that lasted 1, 2, 3 millennia. And so there would be long periods of 200, 300 years where really nothing happened. Everyone kind of hung out just fine. They figured out trade, economies boomed, and societies came up. And after that 200 or 300 years back then, when people only lived to be 30, that's 10 generations of people. So languages kind of change, skills change. After 200 years of peace, do you think you have an army anymore? Do you think you really know how to defend your village? And then, someone from on over the hills, gets a bug up their ass or learns about metal and says, hey, we can kill people with these spears. And we need better access to the sea, so we're going to head over to the Mediterranean. Anyone gets in their way, we're just going to kill them. And they literally would just wipe out villages. Like
civilizations. Bro.
Yeah, when who kicked the Jews originally out of Jerusalem?
The Ottoman. No, excuse me.
No, way back then.
Babylonians.
Yeah, and
there was two.
Yeah, it happened a number of times.
Southern, yeah.
And they butchered like 127,000 of them, like over a period of like 3 days. It made the, and that's not like 127,000 of 6 million. That's 127,000 out of 127,000. It's awful. Those periods, they were terrible. They had these long periods of peace, and everything was great. People forgot how they needed to defend themselves, and then someone strong would say, "We want all your stuff." They'd be like, "No, you need to stay over there." Okay, that's sword, cross, hang.
Yeah.
People don't understand. I mean, there's how many? I said this on the show before, but if any listeners don't know this, there was a guy. He was Jewish. His name was Jesus.
Literally.
He was there long before the religion of Islam started. I realize there's a difference between Arabs and Islam. But it's not like one person or one group has had traditional lands forever. It's a mix. It's like, it's like saying, England has had that same land forever. No, the Saxons were there for 10,000 years or whatever. And then the Normans came over and said, hey, all you guys get the F out. Do you think people with the old Saxon lineages are like, we want our kingdom of England back. We want our lands back. It's our traditional land. No, they're like, screw it. This is good stuff now.
England Saxon. That's all I got to say. Right?
Harold got the arrow in the eye in 1066. William came over and said, I'm claiming the throne. All Saxons out. Normans are in.
So, but here's the thing. I don't condone war here. Like, I'm not sitting there saying, like, I'm against or pro, but I sit there, and what I argue against is that we're not having a conversation. It's either one side, and it's a much more complex issue. It's a deeply complex issue.
Obviously, this one is a complex mess.
Yeah, and it's not. I mean, just as complex as China and Taiwan, right? Like, or as Russia and Ukraine, right? Like, it's complex. We're talking hundreds of years. China, and Taiwan, they were one. It was so it's and again, I want Taiwan to be separate because I like having my chips being able to buy from a free nation that another communist I'm just being honest. Like, I don't agree with China stepping in and going in and taking over, right? So it's just man, it's such a nuts world right now. Like, it really is. And it's just like, and we can't talk about these things. We can't sit there and openly talk about this and sit there and say, what would be the best strategy here for the world at large? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the best strategy for everyone? Is my and
Man,
it's
if
almost like
either you could figure that out, or if I could figure that out, I'm sure there's a way to make money off that. First of all, it's selling short the defense company stocks. That's I'd buy all the puts I could afford for Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, and so forth. And then the next day say, hey guys, here's a great idea that will work.
you'd end up dead.
Oh yeah, and in an amazing twist of fate, a bomb accidentally fell off of a B-52 that was happened to be flying over Chicago, and landed right on Tom's house.
Directly on your house.
Sorry, Tom. We'll send the family a check, but I don't know.
Yeah. Free taxes for the rest of your guys' lives or something like that. But well, they probably wouldn't do that. That's just that's un-American. Man, it's scary. And when I watch, my biggest thing was when I watched Shapiro really trying to like sit there. He said some pretty dope stuff that was like, listen, I get that, the Arab nation had this, and this. I get that, and he started rattling off all these facts because ultimately, look, like, they're trying to eradicate a whole entire like group of people, right? Not, and it's nations, and it's in their like constitution. Like, there's something wrong here. This isn't good.
There is a funny. There's a let's see, who is it that it's called the Bee. It's a YouTube channel. What is it?
Babylon Bee.
Babylon Bee.
Yeah. They are, dude. Their stuff is so good because they play both sides. Right, but they also make fun of the conservatives as well as the liberals, and
they have this one here called "From the River." From the river to the sea actually means, and the guy go ahead hosts interviews a Hamas fighter, and the guy's trying to be a woke American who's. When the Hamas fighter says, "Oh, we want to kill the Jews," YouTube algorithm, I'm paraphrasing a parody site on the internet. The guy, the woke guy, is like, "Well, you don't really mean to kill them. That's just a phrase that you just want justice, and you want the world to be right and everyone to get along." And he's like, "No, we want to kill them." Yes. And I'm not laughing because it's funny to talk about that way with someone. It's funny because that's ultimately what they want. And to hear someone honestly, even though it's a parody thing, to make fun of it, is like, yeah, it's literally in their constitution and their charter. Say we want to kill these people because they believe differently, and there's the made up story that says that they took your homeland. Yeah, we can't get too deep into that. That'll be like that. But I think it's time to pivot to not to Bitcoin, but to Mike from Manitoba is on again today. He mentions
Nice.
Japan. Mike, thanks for watching from Manitoba, Minnesota. Oh God, it's Friday and I have a glass and a half of wine and can't even get that right. Manitoba. Thanks for watching. Not Manitoba. I guess it's the same thing. Minnesota, Manitoba. Big wasteland of stuff with cities here and there, like 1,000 miles apart. But trust me, Ontario is not much different. Ontario just happens to have Toronto. If it didn't have Toronto, it would be abandoned like the rest of the country. It's just close enough. All right, let's get into the Zen versus. This is just good gossip, and hopefully the algorithm will pick this up. OKX exchange versus Zen, and it starts out. Where does this start out here? Jack says, "Oops, that's not the right one." Jack says, "I am not the one to walk away from a good fight, or talk away from a good fight. I guess since it's Twitter. Who is with me, Zen? Whatever." Mike, I just saw your tweet here, or not your tweet, your comment. Drove to a friend that's close to the border. Oof, oof. But anyway, Jay-Z posts. Look, X1. Oh, that's Zen's blockchain, X1, right? Oh, look, X1 has been live for 10 months now. How is OKX rolling out a blockchain that already exists? Oops. It's although someone gets a little mouthy and says happens when your founder abandons his project and starts learning programming in Python. Haha, Zen is dead. And then Jack, in typical Jack form, responds, "Shut the F up and go eat some bananas."
Dude.
And it goes on. It goes on. I'm not getting all the tweets here, but Jack says, someone from OKS just messaged me. Sounds like an ultimatum. A polite one, though. Well, they have my answer. And if you can't read it on the screen here, it says, please ask your community to stop posting their derogatory posts. Then we can talk. Because Jack had posted, hey, this is OKX's Discord for their new X1 level 2 chain. Let the new X1 Discord community know how we feel. And the Zen community just raided the Discord and took it over and made life hell there for everybody.
I love it. That's crypto, dude. That is so crypto, bro.
I know. That's what you get. You know, when you say, oh, we have to have a community and a community forms around it, well, you get community action, and it's not always pumping. Sometimes it's dumping, and sometimes it's good old-fashioned mob action.
You know, it's interesting. I'm shocked that they didn't hack it and then just take it over and then like change all the keys on everything. You know.
Well, Discord's fixed a lot of that now. You have to, in order to be to have mod or admin powers, you have to have super security turned on, and I think it's eliminated that stealing the session keys vulnerability they had. But this is still going on Twitter, I think. So if you're a Zen person, yeah, too late, Mike. You're part of a mob of 3 now. Part of the 3. We've got probably there's collectively about I don't know, about 6 or 7 streams going on right now towards an hour and a half into our show. So not it, but here you are. You're part of you're the Manitoba mob.
You know, when we have millions of viewers one day, right?
Right.
And when we sit there and we're like, you know what, let's go raid a project, right? Like that would just be awesome. I mean, we shouldn't do it, but I think that would be fun though, to be able to sit there and be like, you know what, let's go raid somebody. Raid, you know. Anyways, I don't even know why I thought about that. But
I'm responding to my sister and brother-in-law. No, they're down the street at the bar. And they're like, where are you at? We got a seat at the bar. I'm like, I'm on the air, man. They're like, it's nighttime. And I'm like, yeah, we switched to doing nighttime shows. And they're like, so I'm on the air. And they're like, but that's not where the old fashions are.
That's good.
Little do they know, and I'm about to tell them that my wine glass here is filled, well, now it's empty, but was filled with only the cheapest box Pinot Grigio. It was I can drink the cheapest white wine possible. Natasha has left and gone. Mrs. Striking, as they say, has gone back to Canada. So I can drink the worst wine and love it. And she's just like, oh, I can't even drink that stuff.
You know what? Here's the thing. So OpenAI, side note, just started. When are they launching their app store for everything?
They've got I don't know if it's an app store, but it's a big list of the projects that are essentially apps that work on their stuff.
Yeah, I was sitting there, but it's supposed to be like an app store where you actually download a type of app where you can actually set up and get everything going. I think I was reading through this, and I was literally thinking to myself, right? Like, I look forward to the point where you can sit there and create your own little thing, and then like one day you could be like, you not walk in with yourself, like actual physical self, but like clock in and set up an app where you can be like, I'm drinking, right? Or it's just like some virtual thing where we can all like meet in some weird like metaverse where like you can sit there and drink and then like and use like apps to do certain things, and you know what I'm saying, like create our own little AI slash anyways. I thought that would be one day really cool, and like I can like actually get
wait, hold on, you never had the app Beer Me?
No, wait, what? What's
Beer Me? People have stopped using it because it was a poorly made app, but it was an app where you put on your phone, and whenever you had a beer, you put in it, I'm having a beer, and you could share it with a circle of friends, not to everyone, but to other people using the app that you said, yeah. And so I had one buddy in London, UK, one buddy in Germany, and like two others in the States that all had the app. Because when you download it, it said, these friends also have it, and then you would approve exchanging it. So every time you have a beer, it would all of a sudden you hear out of your phone the sound, or it would say cocktail or a glass of wine or something like that. And it was great because the guy, it'd be noon or 11 a.m. here, and all of a sudden I'd hear my phone, and the guys in Germany were having a beer, and I was like, damn it. And then you could have virtual beers with your friends and stuff. It was a great little app.
That is pretty cool.
Mike says, since this is a mob and you're the leader, shall we call you Don Tom? We'll call you. It's Don Tomasino. Hey, wait, isn't that the guy that got whacked in the Godfather? The guy that there's somebody called Tomasino or something. I don't know. Somebody will correct me on that. Don Tom. Wait, I've got to, if I'm going to be Don Tomasino, I've got to, let's see here if we can figure that out. I've got to increase my tan. I got to be like a tan mobster here.
Yeah, you got to get orange, bro. You got to get orange.
There we go. There, now I'm a John Gotti there with a super tan.
There you are. Hey, holy moly!
Now I'm ET phone home.
Orange, bro. You green now. Ooh. Messing with the color schemes.
Yeah, just the camera hue and saturation. Hulk. Mike says Hulk, Tom.
Hulk.
Definitely not. Yes, these are Hulk arms. Let me tell you that. This is nothing but green muscle right here. It's been a long time since I had guns. Let's see. Never. As they say, I have never been a man of the gym. Never.
I love me my gym time, man. I've been really messing with sauna therapy, man, and man, I love the sauna, man. Like,
I can't do the sauna. That's too hard on the breath. But just across the border in Ottawa, in Quebec, the mountains start there. It's literally across the border. It's the river. One side of the river is flat. The other side of the river, the mountains start. And in the mountains, they have all these Nordic spas, and they have outdoor heated pools. Not like a swimming pool, but like a rock pool. Not natural by any means. Just heated, and they make it like a luxury destination type thing, and they're awesome. I mean, the Quebecers, they don't get a lot of good press for just about anything they do. But their Nordic spas, especially one called the Nordique Spa, woo! They're like, you walk in, they give you booze, they say, here's a pool with a view of this great view, and you're with your woman, and you're like, it's like bringing 40 dozen roses home to your woman. It's like, it's that good. It's that effective.
Oh, wow.
It's like, it's just one of those things. Like, it just works. Shit works. But I can't do this spa because I can't breathe that stuff. I'm like, it's just too fucking hot.
I love it, man.
I can't even take a hot shower though. I can't like. The wife takes the hot shower that literally your skin melts off. I don't know how she does it, and then she turns it down. Okay, it's cold now. You can get in, and I'm still like, that's melting my skin. She's like, it's cold. I'm like, no. Then I turn it down. She's like, that's ice water. I'm like, no, it's just lukewarm.
You know what's interesting? I found out that so the heat raises your testosterone, right? And causes pain to feel good. Okay, so it partly like it. So somebody who's very driven, let's say a girl's very driven, likes to get a lot of things done, very detail oriented. They typically enjoy really extremely hot showers. Not to say that's everybody, obviously, right? Like you always have. But
great, my wife's raising her testosterone level.
Well, not necessarily. Well, here's the thing: most women have way too much estrogen in our society, right? That's why we see so many women have thyroid issues because of all the plastics, all the petroleum products, all literally have crude oil. And crude oil is one of the primary, or the plastics are one of the primary things that actually are dropping testosterone. They think that, like men, literally since the 1950s, we've seen a 60% drop in testosterone with modern day men, right? And the only thing they can think about is it's actually working, and what's causing it is microplastics in the water, microplastics in whatever we're eating, in the salt, because a lot of our salt comes from the sea, right? So it's one of those things that,
those microplastics people, it's one of those things that when someone said, oh, it'll be fine, like, it's one of those things that if you put it out to the public, everyone would have said, no, that's not going to be fine. Like, forever chemicals, like Teflon and stuff like that, These little, like, the exfoliants that women were using for 15 years while they allowed this stuff was all these little plastic beads. I'm like, they're rubbing plastic on their body. It's going in the water. Where do you think it's going to go? It's now in Lake Erie, in Lake Michigan, in the fish, and you're eating the fish, so you're eating plastics.
Literally. That's literally what's going on.
You're just like
yeah, like it's really scary. So I've really started making sure that I drink water out of a well. I really make sure that I try to do my best to keep everything out of plastic. And since I've really started doing it, I feel myself.
Yeah, but you're getting forever chemicals in the well.
What do you mean?
There's not. They just did a big study that not even the water that falls at the top of what's the highest mountain in the U.S. Mount McKinley. Even the rain that falls and the snow that falls on Mount McKinley is laced with forever chemicals. So you can just, the well water thing is just right out. There's no water on the planet that doesn't have forever chemicals on it. So that's why you gotta filter it. Just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I don't know how 3M is still even in business since they make most of that stuff. I remember for some reason, I was Googling something, and it took me to on Google Earth or whatever near the 3M plant along some river. They have a couple on the Mississippi in Missouri, Illinois, and Minnesota, and each one of those plants looks like the worst chemical spilled apocalyptic disaster in a video game that you've ever seen. Yet they're just cranking out chemicals that go into all different products we buy, use, and use for food and all this type of stuff. I mean, all they need to do is just take pictures of this place, and everyone goes, No, that's not right. You guys are tricking us, aren't you? Yeah, you're tricking us. And it's just the worst. It's literally the worst. The whole place is a hazmat disaster, and they're like, oh, no, it's fine to hold food, cook on it. It's fine. I'm like, look at the plate. The fish have 9 eyes on it. There isn't a blade of grass growing within 6 miles of this place. We're just the chumbalones, Pedro. We're just taking it in the shorts, as they say. Mike, you taking it in the shorts in Canada there? Can you become a Chicago chumbalone?
Oh my goodness, man! I didn't know about the whole entire mountain, man.
Yeah, they can't find any rain anywhere that doesn't have forever chemicals. It just gets it's the perfect chemical, gets evaporated with the water, and only boiling it can get it out. You can do filters, but that has to be the right filter. It's not just the regular Brita. It's the super one that 1 gallon of water takes 6 hours to filter or something.
I do have to admit though, I do feel so much better. Like since I've really just started drinking out like well water and stuff, I do feel like just a drive. So it's interesting. I wonder if there is a mitigated effect of it going through the ground. I wonder like mentally, or maybe it's more of a placebo effect.
I don't know. All I know is that I remember I've used a Brita filter for a long time. I don't know, at least 20 years or so or more. And basically I did when my son was born. I lived in an older house that had been renovated, but I was like, you know what, there's probably still lead. The pipes in it had been replaced. There's PVC pipes. And there wasn't any lead pipes in it, but I'm like, there's going to be lead in the house. And there's probably... Chicago is very good about replacing their water pipes, and so there isn't a lot of lead left, but I'm like, there's probably more than there is, so I'm going to filter the water. 20 years I've been using the Brita filters, and only this year was it that I learned that the Brita filters I was using did not filter out for lead.
Oh, bro.
I'm like, wait, what? They're like, no, you can't buy the $30 filters. You have to buy the $60 filters, the special blue ones. I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, mother, beep, 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 beep.
Dude, that's just...
Mike, no, Chicago is not better than Detroit anymore. Detroit, everyone left. So there's nothing left in Detroit. And their downtown area gentrified, and so that's fine now. And then the bad neighborhoods around the downtown are basically empty. So they've left. There's not a big problem with crime in Detroit anymore. And if you hear the news about it's New York, Chicago, San Francisco, Los Angeles, even to some extent Miami, but not nearly as bad. It's mostly the northern cities that went liberal, or too woke, I should say. Is where the bad crime is. Detroit didn't have that problem because they had the problem years ago, and they solved it by having everyone move out and then knocking down the homes and actually turning some of the city back into farmland. Whereas in Chicago, if you own a Kia or a Honda, you're like a machine gunner in World War II. You've got the shortest life before carjacking. They steal your car so fast. Oh my God!
But don't go to San Francisco, man.
No,
it's bad.
Yeah, no, carjacking's a real problem here in Chicago because they weren't prosecuting people for a while, and the police aren't allowed to chase anyone anymore, so they can get away with anything. But the Kias, you can start the cars with a USB A plug. Anyone, it's not the USB thing. It's just the perfect size, and it connects 2 contacts and starts the car. And there's no anti-theft system that overrides that. And so the people can steal the cars from you, even if you have the keys on you. They can steal the car or carjack you with it, and they don't need the key because they can restart the car. And they drive them around for a couple of days and go around robbing people, then they dump the cars. So if you got a Hyundai or a Kia, it's like I said, it's like a machine gunner in World War II. He didn't last very long.
Bro, wow, how is this possible? I just don't understand.
You know,
How is it possible that we got to this point?
Hyundai and Kia rented out giant parking lots in the suburbs, the IKEA parking lot, and Comiskey Field here in Chicago, and have been reprogramming everyone's computers to not allow that to happen. So there's big long lines of Kia and Hyundai owners, and they're all waiting in line. And they're like, "What point the guy that was last in line got carjacked?"
Dude, that is so sad.
The dude's driving.
It's
It's just awful. It's just,
I just don't understand. How did America get to the point where we don't prosecute people? Like, how is it that like we've gotten to the point where it's like crime is so readily available?
it's actually fairly simple, and it's an unfortunate consequence of being too tough on crime, and having black people sit in jail for years because they can't afford bail. Here in Chicago, New York, and in San Francisco, they really wanted to solve that problem, and I give them credit for trying to solve that problem. You know, you shouldn't languish in jail for 2 years just because you can't afford a $10,000 bail. It fucks up your whole life, ruins everything, and especially since by the time they went to trial, charges would get reduced or dropped, and then they sat in jail for 2 years for no reason. So they tried to solve that problem by lowering bail or having no bail, or the age of GPS and electronic monitoring came up, and so people were getting out on jail, and they weren't out on bail very easily for violent crimes, and they weren't tracking it well. Here in Chicago, the justice system had a spreadsheet that was tracking how many guys, and I'll use guys because it's 99% guys, and 99% of a certain demographic, unfortunately, were committing crimes while out on bail. Like, they were arrested for carjacking someone, and then I went out on bail or on electronic monitoring and carjacked someone else. And they were like, the chief justice guy was like, "There's no issue. There's not a problem. This program is working great." And the prison's emptied. And everyone's like, "Wow, that's great." And the prison budget went down. It's like, "Oh, this is good, but crime is going through the roof. What's going on here?" Finally, it took the Chicago Tribune and another media outlet here in Chicago called CWB Chicago to start tracking it. And of course, what they found out that the data that the judge had and the chief justice had was manipulated. And
shocking.
Yeah,
especially in Chicago, bro. I don't believe that.
Right, and they were like, "Oh, it was just because a junior person didn't know how to use Excel." And I'm like, everyone's like, "You mean all this problem we're having in the city here is because some junior person in the Justice Department here didn't know how to use Excel? Really? Really? Come on. You're hiding the fact that a certain demographic was actually committing all these crimes." And they could hide it. They were able to hide it. And admittingly, they kept people out of jail that shouldn't have languished in jail. I get that. That's a good thing. But the 10% of criminals that are hardened and just keep giving everyone the business would just go out and start doing it again. And our murder rate spiked, went through the roof. Our armed robbery through the roof. And of course, we had a terrible incident where the police were chasing someone for murder, I might add, for murder. And the police car went out of control and hit another lady's car and killed her, and the kid in the car. And it was terrible. An awful thing, shouldn't have happened. And so the mayor at the time, Mayor Lightfoot, said, "That's it. We're paying out too much money in claims for the police. We can't chase anymore. It's too dangerous." And I agree. In the cities, it's too dangerous, but you have to be able to chase them somehow. And the solution wasn't to say you can't chase. The solution was to spend money on training. Train police departments how to respond to fleeing suspects, not just give a guy a V8 motor and say, "Go as fast as you can through city streets." There's other ways. There's lots of other ways to do it. It takes training, but that's expensive too, and didn't want to spend the money doing that. So our crime spiked, and we stopped prosecuting people to the point where our chief prosecutor in town said, he literally said in public, "We're not going to prosecute people for shoplifting."
Oh, that's why I'm seeing all of those things in Chicago of people shoplifting now.
Right. And so they're like, "Well, if shoplifting for $800, $1,000, it's not worth our time. It gets pled out. It just ruins people's life, with felonies and stuff. So we're just not gonna do it. Instead of just having a ghost policy about it, right?
Yeah.
They announce it in public. So guess what happens literally the next day? A crew drives their car into the Louis Vuitton's window, and steals everything. Well, you're not going to prosecute us.
That is just nuts. Yeah. I mean, and then what happened? Like, did they get prosecuted or?
No, they don't catch any of these guys because they can't chase them. They can't do this. They can't do that. And then when the police say, well, we'll just figure out whose cell phones were in the area, the civil rights people are like, you can't just look for cell phones in the area. You have to know who they are and then ask for that person's records. And the police are like, we know who they are. They're all these people from this one neighborhood. Just let's show us which cell phones were in the area and we'll go arrest them. Yeah. Oh, no, can't do that. Oh, today's been a good Friday, Pedro. We've been pontificating. We've been opining. We've been we kept the conspiracy theory down a lot and hit more topics. We hit some good news topics from everything from the crypto markets to the battle between Jack Levin's X1 level 1 blockchain and
there we go.
And OKX. I don't know where OKX is from. Are they China? Maybe, I don't know where they're based.
Are they? I don't think they're in China.
They're a global exchange. I don't know where they're.
Yeah. Headquartered. Or maybe Hong Kong.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't even think.
So that's a public fight that's sorting itself out now in the land of Zen.
The land of Zen.
Yeah, we had a pretty good crowd today. Probably once again, LinkedIn took the charge with the most viewers here, which is surprising for a Friday. We had 14 viewers on LinkedIn, 12 on YouTube. So far, the YouTube's always about an hour behind in getting the things up, and then between Twitch and Kick, we had about probably 5 total.
5.
Twitch and Kick never report anything correctly, so I don't even try and count viewers on those. But we have Mike from Manitoba watching on Twitch, so thank you very much, Mike.
Oh, Mike.
He keeps the average up on Twitch. It's like you had 2 views for an average of 45 minutes each. Usually the average is much lower.
Nice. Honestly, like those the small wins, man. I mean, there was a point in time when you only had 2 views or 3.
Right,
views, so.
right. All right, so we're up 6x.
Yeah, man. I mean, look at it like this. I remember watching that thing with Mr. Beast, and he says, the moment when we started doing, like 25, 50, 100 people watching, like that's, he goes, whoa, that's a lot of people. And he was just counting to 1 million, or not 1 million. What was it? 100,000, right? Like just the entertainment factor of just simply just going through and counting to 100,000, bro. Like, you know what we should do? We should go through and count how many Ponzi schemes there've been.
Oh, there's no way. There's no way. One of them I reported on a few, I don't know, 2-3 months ago or something like that. I reported, generally when I report on them, I find out who their registrar is and email their abuse team and say, hey, this is a Ponzi scheme and I'm going to be talking about it here. You should be careful of that. And one of the guys got back to me and said that one customer has 7,300 domains registered, all kind of the same, like grand exchanges, grande exchanges, all the variations of those types of things, and just tons of domain names. All of, investment partners, limited liability company X, investment liability X limited partners. The Ponzi schemes out there, they're like meme coins. They used to try to get $100 million. Now they try and get 25 grand before they go under.
Still, man, you do 2 or 3 of those a month, bro? And they're doing like 1 a day.
No. I mean, the Ponzi schemes, they've got to keep going. They need to be there for a good 4 or 5 months in order to generate, to show that they are legit. So people follow them for a while and then get sucked in by them. But it's easy to tell because they only buy those domain names for 1 year. It's the cheapest, smallest amount of time you can buy a domain names 1 year. And so they buy so many domain names that they save money by only buying them for a year. So it's so easy. Anything you think is just scammy, just run its domain name and look up. And you'll see almost all the time, it was registered a few months ago, and it expires exactly 1 year from that few months ago. Almost all of them. It's like clockwork. It's the greatest. It's the easiest way to check see if something's a scam, because ultimately scammers want to save money, so they only register the domain name for 1 year. All right, and they especially say this company's been around for 25 years. It's on its second generation leader. Blah 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 blah. And you're like, dude, you registered the domain name 3 months ago. Well, no, the company changed its name. I'm like, oh, what was that name? Let me look it up. Well, there was this, we don't want to, blah, blah, talk about it. I'm like, oh, well, just give me some stuff that I can look that company up too. No. I love calling them out on it. Because you get them in, I don't know about you, but I get them in Telegram like once a day. You get the random person, and like 3/4 of them are women. They're like, hi, how are you? I saw that you're active in crypto community investing. No, and I'm to the point now where I'm like, just send me the referral code. They're like, oh no, I want to talk about stuff and investing. I'm like, just send me the referral code, and then so they just do. They're like, this is a good thing. I'm like, no, it's a scam, it's a Ponzi. It's only been registered for a year. Here's the money, or the money's going. And they're like, no, it's really honest. I'm like, dude, I know it's a dude. I know it's not some girl from Taiwan. I'm like, dude, I just told you how you're scamming. So you don't need to then try and justify it. I'm not gonna fall for it. They still try. Because they get people. People.
I'm actually just typed into Copilot. How many scam crypto coins launch every day? It's having a hard time even bringing anything up. It's literally going through attempting to reconnect. It like crashed it.
Well, there's a TG bot or group, APU something.
Oh, yes.
That tracks them. And generally, there's a few hundred a day that are legitimate projects. I don't mean the ones that exist for 10 seconds and just honeypot and Rugia and stuff like that. But they measure them on ETH, on Bitcoin, or on Bitcoin, on BSC, and a couple other places too. Oh, look, we got Betty Baskins in the house.
Oh, snap. What's up, Betty?
Betty is, Betty, otherwise known, I believe, is AJ in the TG world.
What's up, AJ? She's awesome. Actually, it's getting late for me, man.
Yeah, Betty, you caught us at the end of our show here. We've been rambling for almost 2 hours now.
Yeah, we have, man. I'm shocked. We've just been jibber-jabbering over here about just the world and everything in it, and we're just solving the world's problems, and we're gonna.
And we solved them all. We solved the Israeli-Hamas problem. Yep. We solved Bitcoin and ETH problems and stuff like that. And
and all the scam coins.
Well, I didn't mean to do that, but I assume that the TG name isn't real either. So like maybe double not doxed. We got Crypto Mike here. See, I call him Crypto Mike, but he's the Nitzer General here, whatever. Oh, he has Crypto Mike in his logo, so.
Love it. Awesome. It's perfect. But I think it's just so interesting to sit there. Like when you think about where you're at, in crypto, right? You know that you're doing a good job when you get actually real people who come in and comment. I feel like with real, right? It's not because I remember when I first got into crypto, man, it was so caustic, bro. It was like, it was toxic. Everything was toxic, right? Like it is the sewer of the sewer of the sewer of the internet.
And we love it. And we love it.
I love it, dude. It's just nuts.
There's no more true statement than it's the sewer of the sewer. Everything needs a sewer, including the sewer.
Itself. Anyways, my brother, thank you so much for having me on again today, man. I gotta bounce out of here, but yeah, it was a good show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna call it for the evening here. Betty, and Mike and crew and the rest of you that tuned in on the LinkedIner, the Twitcher, the Kicker, and the YouTubers. Thank you very much. Pushed us way over into Mr. Beast territory today. We're gonna have 600 million views tomorrow, and we're all gonna be driving fat Lambos.
Speaking of Mr. Beast, we forgot to say Mr. Beast, aka crypto or Bitcoin. By the way, I want to check out how many subscribers does Mr. Beast have as of right now before I go. I want to see this here.
Oh, is this where we mentioned Shib also?
Yes. Shiba Inu.
Shiba Inu.
If you guys could type in Shiba Inu for us, that'd be great too as well. I'm gonna check out to see Mr. Beast and how many subscribers. So you know what? I want to start following this because I think it's such a trip of just everything that goes on. By the way, did you see the last episode of the Loki season 2, bro?
No, I did not see that.
Oh, dude, I
watched let's say I was password sharing on the to watch the Marvel stuff, and my password sharing ended, and I haven't switched over to a piracy site to watch it yet because it's just not convenient having naked Anna appear on the screen when your wife's around.
She'd be like, "What are you looking?" Yeah, we're gonna leave that one. I'm gonna leave that one alone. I don't need to have Miss Striking attack me. Okay, so anyways, so check this out. Mr. Beast. Remember, when did we look at his? He was at 100 or 208 mil, right? Because he went from 200 to 204 to 208 mil, right? Was that last week or was that this week?
I don't know.
All right, look at this right here, dude. Within 5 days, bro, he literally went from 208 to 211 million, dude. Like
3 million people in a week.
In like 3 days, 4 days. Like it. Ship, Shiba. It just blows me away. Like it's just the amount. Like, can I just get like I don't even want a tenth. I just give me 1%. I'll take 1% of that. Right? 1%. Give me 2 million. We're set. That is just nuts, bro. That is nuts.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
That's it for tonight. Thank you, everybody, for watching. On behalf of Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst who says everything that is only for educational purposes and not for financial gain, and myself, otherwise known as Tom. I said that all wrong. Tom, otherwise known as Striking here in the digital media world. We've had a great time. We had a good week with you. We'll be back next week for some more evening shows. So Betty and Mike and the rest of you out there, you too can join in and be part of the game and the entertainment that we bring to the great interwebs. It doesn't get better than this, does it? No? How about you? Over there? No? You? No.
We're the best.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
And from
Get out of here.
As Mike says, Don Tommy says, we'll see you next week, so be there.
All right, guys.